Welcome to our Beginner's Web Development tutorial series. If you're interested in learning how to build websites from scratch, you've come to the right place. In this series, we'll guide you through the fundamentals of web development. Starting with HTML, the language used to structure the content of web pages. From there, we'll move on to CSS, which is used to style and lay out the content on the page. And then we'll delve into JavaScript, which is used to add interactivity and dynamic functionality to your web pages. Whether you're a complete beginner or have some prior experience with web development, this series is designed to help you build a solid foundation in these essential web development skills. By the end of the series, you'll have the knowledge and the skills to create your own responsive and dynamic web pages, and will be well on your way to becoming a proficient web developer. So let's get started. To get started creating web pages, you'll need a text editor. You can use any text editor, but the one I would recommend is Visual Studio Code. You can find it by typing VS Code in your search box, and it should be the first thing you come to. Just click on that and it'll give you an option to download in your operating system. It downloads in both Mac, Windows and Linux. I've already got it, so I don't need to do this. Once inside Visual Studio Code, you will need an extension called Live Server. This will enable you to run a local server so that you can view the web pages you create. Just click on the icon that has the little squares on the sidebar. Then in the search box type Live Server. On the Live Server page you will see an install option. Mine says uninstall. That is because I already have it installed. Just click on the install button and it will add the extension for you. I have created a folder called Getting Started Web Dev, but you can call yours anything you like. I'm going to import this folder into Visual Studio Code. Next, we need to create a file called index.html. Once you have created the index.html file, click inside the edit window and type an exclamation mark. Then press the tab key and an initial web page will be created for you. This is a basic HTML document that includes the necessary elements for a web page. I will break down each part of the document. This is a declaration of the document type, indicating that it is an HTML5 document. This is the opening tag for the HTML5 document. The lang attribute specifies the language of the document, in this case English. This is the opening tag for the head section of the document. This section contains information about the document that is not visible on the page itself, such as metadata and links to external resources. Metadata refers to data that describes other data. It provides information about a particular data set, such as its format, content and context. These three meta tags you will probably never need to touch. You should always include them though. I will explain what they do for completeness. This meta tag specifies the character encoding used in the document, which is UTF-8, a widely used character encoding standard. This meta tag specifies the compatibility mode for Internet Explorer. In this case it sets the rendering engine of the latest version available. This meta tag sets the viewport of the document. The width equals device width part specifies the width of the viewport should be set to the width of the device screen. That is to say, on your page it will shrink to fit the small devices like your mobile phone. The initial scale equals 1 sets the initial zoom level. The title tag specifies the title of the document, which is displayed in the browser's title bar and can be used for search engine optimization. The title line you will need to be set to something meaningful, as it will appear on the tab of your web browser page. This is the opening and closing tags for the body section of the document. This is where visible content of the web page is placed. In this case, the body section is empty. This is the closing tag for the HTML document. To set a heading on the page, we're going to use an H1 tag. This is go in between the two body tags. Now to see that, we can click on the Go Live button. Looks like that. Notice the text that is on the tab of the web page. This is from the title tag in the head section of the index.html. The text on the page is from the H1. There are up to 6 headings from H1 to H6. So that you don't have to watch me typing, I'm going to copy and paste the other heading titles. And there they are. The H6 is very small. You can adjust these with CSS. Another useful tag is the P tag. This is for paragraphs. I can create some dummy code called lorem ipsum by going lorem 50, and that will produce 50 words like so. The default text from the P tag is quite small, but it can be styled with CSS. We can use a div tag as a way of dividing up our web page. We can also have div tags within div tags. If you do this too much, it starts to get confusing. You have to keep track of which div closing tag relates to which beginning tag. Fortunately, during HTML5, they introduced 2 extra tags. One is the section tag and one is the article tag. So we can have something like this. A div, a section, an article within the section. And if you need further nesting, you could start again with the div, and then you could have an article within that, a section within that rather, and an article, and so on and so forth. Let me show you a better example so you see what I mean. Delete this. A div, an H1, and I'll create some dummy code using lorem ipsum. This will create 50 words like so. And create a section. an h2 tag, another p tag, some more lorem ipsum, an article within this section, and then an h3 tag. This is h3. A p tag, more lorem ipsum, another article, h3 tag, heading, now create a div again in that, create an h4 heading, another p tag, it looks like that. What we have so far doesn't look too bad, but it could be improved by having a style sheet. Let's create a style sheet. To create a style sheet, we first need to create a file called styles.css. Then inside the index.html file, we're using a link tag. The link tag has two attributes. The first one is the rel attribute that tells you that it's a style sheet, and then the href is a hypertext reference that tells you that where the style sheet is. So we just put there. Inside the styles.css, I'm first going to create a body tag. You have a body tag and then two curly braces. In this case, I'm going to create a font family rule. A font family is a group of similar fonts. HTML file will look for the Arial font. If it doesn't find that, it'll look for the Helvetica font, and if it doesn't find that, it'll look for the sans serif font. Having set the font family in the body tag, it will cascade down. What I mean by that is that you will see it in the sub-elements of the body tag. That is sections, articles, p tag, h1 tag, h2, etc. unless overwritten by the subtags. Next, I'm going to set some sizes for the header tags and paragraphs. I'm going to use sizes in pixels. There are a number of formats which I could set the font size to. My reasoning is that pixels are easy to understand, and I can explain the other font formats later. Font size formats later. Pixel is a word invented from picture element. It is the basic unit of programmable color. on a computer display. Pixels are the smallest unit in digital display. 1 pixel is usually assumed to be 1/96th of an inch. So, H1. That's it. Looks bigger now and a bit clearer. You'll notice that the H4 and the P tag are set to the same size. So what I could do is I could put a comma here and a P and then delete this. And now we have the same thing. Let's talk about margin and padding. In the diagram, I have a rectangle represented by a black line. The green area is outside the rectangle. On the web page, the margin creates a bit of a space between the rectangle and other things on the web page. The padding occurs inside the rectangle and it lets you position your information. In this case, I want to put the text, my information, in the center of the rectangle. Going back to our code, you see there is not much gap between the left-hand side of the browser and the text. It would be much nicer if we either put some left margin on the header tags and paragraph tags, or I put some padding on the body tag. I think I'll put some padding on the body tag because it's less typing. So that's padding left px. The next problem is if I expand the screen to full screen, it spreads out. I could set the width to 960 px. But now you've got the problem that it's on the left-hand side rather than in the center. And the other problem is when I go back to the smaller screen, it doesn't wrap the way it did before. Fortunately, what I can use is max width. So now on the smaller screen, I get the padding and the text wrapping, but I still have the problem that the large text is not centered on large screens. What I can do is there's margin auto, margin left auto, margin right auto. This automatically sets the margin when the size is bigger than the max width. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe for more.